Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it. This is Robert Cass with Local Real Estate Deals Media and Local Real Estate Deals Magazine. Today I want to do something a little different. I want to just take a moment to talk a little bit about advice for first-time home buyers. And I know everybody wants to buy their dream home the first time and have everything just right. But I think the problem is that too many people get connected emotionally to a house before they even get into the house. And they have this preconceived notion about the exact perfect house. So I want to just throw out a thought right now for anybody who's thinking about getting into a first-time home. And that advice is to go very, very conservative. I'm going to throw something out here that I've just come across, and I'll tell you, this is the advice that I'll give my children and their grandchildren and so on. And here's the advice. Don't buy a perfect house. Just don't do it. No matter how long you're in that house, or no matter how perfect that house is, within 18 months to 2 years, you're going to be a little bit tight, your elbows are going to hit the walls, your head's going to hit the ceiling. There's going to be something you don't really like about the house. I don't care how much time you spend looking and finding that perfect house. What I really want to recommend to you today is take your time, find a house with a ton of equity. Now, I want you to read between the lines, and if you can't, I'm going to be very specific here. Buy a foreclosure house, okay? In a neighborhood that you like, but buy a house with a ton of equity in it, okay? You'll be much happier at the end of the deal than you are in the beginning, and you'll have equity to work with. This is the equivalent of buying a house and then opening up a checking account with $50,000 or $60,000 in it that you didn't have the day before you bought the house. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a home equity line of credit. It's not instantly available, but it's money in the bank, and it's not money you'll waste. So rather than going around finding the perfect house that you're going to pay top dollar for, because here's a secret, the more you want a house, the less negotiation there is in the price. So if you show a huge commitment to a house and you want it so badly you can't stand it, you're going to pay top dollar for it and max out probably what you can afford payment-wise and put yourself into a difficult position right out of the gate. What I'm suggesting is, and please pay attention, buy a foreclosure. Buy a house that has a ton of equity in it. Will you have to do work to it? Yes. Bank on it. But what I'm telling you is, if you're just getting started, if you're just married, don't put financial strain onto your marriage. Go into a situation and be very smart. You'll walk into a property and have a ton of equity in it. Okay? My second piece of advice, and this is the last piece I'm going to give you in this segment, is to never sell that house. Don't sell it. Listen, if you have a house that has a ton of equity in it, that's great. But if you can move out of that house, rent that house, take out some equity from that house to put down on your next house, now you have a cash flowing asset, okay? So many people make the mistake of selling their first house and then they lose that asset to somebody else. What I'm telling you is, if you really want to start building wealth, you can do this. People move 3 to 5 times anyways in a lifetime. What I'm telling you is, buy that first house with equity in it. Take a little bit of equity out after 2 years, put it as money down for your next house, and then let this first house cash flow for you. You get the tax benefits, you get the cash flow, and you get the cash out at the end of the time. You get to use your equity. So these are just really simple ideas, guys, but people don't talk about them. Real estate agents don't necessarily talk about them unless they're investors themselves, which many times your loan officers and your real estate agents aren't real estate investors, so they don't understand those very basic premises, or they don't exercise them, or they just don't tell you about them. I don't know how you're not getting the information, but what I'm telling you is these very simple things can change your financial picture ridiculously, wildly, believe it or not. And if you do that one more time, now you've got 2 cash flowing assets in your favor other than your job. So I'm going to let you just think about that for a while. Don't ever take my advice. Go out and ask people about the pros and cons of this. There are some other pros and cons to consider. Obviously, you'll have tenants, but you also get tax breaks. So there are some things to consider, but even if you just go in and buy a foreclosure, that is going to get you started on the right track right out of the gate. Most people never hear about that. Most people don't even think about it. I want you to think about it. Do what's best for you and your family, but that's just another way of looking in outside of the box. Thanks for your time, and good luck.